So we're here with Dave Thompson, NBA great here at the NIT. Tell us about this moment that you just had here on half court, being honored for one of the top great college players here.
It's a great moment, just being with Christian Laettner, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, two of my all-time favorite players, and being honored as one of the greatest players in the NCAA history is really exciting for me.
Yeah, I a little bit before my time, but I do remember some of the highlights of watching you play. I remember you being just a scoring machine, 73 points in one game, and I know Michael Jordan is one of those guys that always looked up to you, kind of on the court. Tell me about some of your moments out there in the NBA and some of those special ones, especially the 73-point performance.
Oh yeah, that was a highlight. Going up against George Gervin for the scoring title.
Yep.
I played that afternoon and had 53 points at halftime. Scored 73 for the game. It put me 58 ahead of Gervin. And I was pretty confident I was winning the scoring title. But he came back that night and scored 63 to edge me out in the closest race. That was exciting. And also being the only guy to be MVP in the ABA and NBA All-Star game.
Oh, yes, indeed. Big time accomplishment. Now, I do remember you were drafted #1 by both NBA and the ABA, right?
Right.
Why did you select? And then you had an opportunity where you could select whether you go to NBA or the ABA, and you chose the NBA, am I correct?
Yeah, I went to the ABA Denver Nuggets because they had some great players there. They had Bobby Jones, Monty Tyler, my teammate from NC State.
Right.
Yeah, so that helped to have him there. Marvin Webster. Dan Issel had some great players there. So I figured if I'd go there, we'd do well, and I figured the league would probably merge the ABA in a couple of years, and it only took 1 year.
Yep.
So our team went I had a good team going into the NBA. We won a couple of Midwest Division titles the first few years and did pretty well in the playoffs.
Now, you've been there from the NBA in terms of how it's evolved. What do you think about where the NBA is now in terms of how the game has evolved with the NBA? What are some of your thoughts about where the NBA is now? Commissioner Stern will be leaving, like in terms of where it can go.
I think the NBA is great. It's a global basketball league now. We got so many foreign players or European players in the league, and I think basketball is at its height. We got a lot of great young guys in the game that's really taking it to another level. So I'm very excited about it in the NBA and where it's going.
Now, if you had to compare the two, or you look at some of the two stars, Kobe Bryant, you got Lebron James, one of those guys. If you were playing today, right, and you were putting the jersey, who would you want to put the jersey on with? Would it be Kobe, LeBron? Who were some of your favorite players you want to lace up with on your team?
I think it'd be great to play with either one of those guys. They're totally different. Kobe's got the killer instinct. He can take over late in the game, and LeBron is just a total all-around player. He'd be a great guy to play with, kick it to you and score on his own. So he would be great. And Kevin Durant, I love him. Blake Griffin, it'd be fun to match dunks with him. So there's a lot of great guys in the league.
And speaking of dunks, man, I know when you first had the first NBA dunk contest, they matched you up against Julius Erving.
Right.
Some say that you should have won that dunk contest. Kind of before my time, I didn't see the highlights, but it was one dunk I remember about this cradle the baby.
Yeah.
What was the cradle the baby dunk, man?
I used to cup it in this hand and put it over the rim and knock it in with the right hand.
Oh,
I did that in warm-ups, but I didn't do it in the game. They had different areas where you came from to do the dunks, and from that side, I decided to do the 360. And so that cradle dunk it's kind of hard to make every time. So I didn't do that when I should have. Maybe I would have won.